Welcome aboard, everybody. Welcome aboard, everybody. This is Sunday night's free hypnosis class. Now, let me cover a couple things first off the bat. First of all, I'm really glad you're here. Oh, by the way, I'm going to type something in the chat box real quick, and that is if you do not video above, click start or refresh your page and click the center of the video. All right. Dustin, somebody's asking a question about how to change the code to your real name. You can answer that if you want to in the chat box. Welcome aboard, everybody. Sunday nights is a time for free hypnosis, learning, teaching, experiences, and I will always guide everybody through a hypnosis session each Sunday night as well, so you have a chance to experience hypnosis. This actually started years ago. We did Non-Guard TV. It's no longer called Non-Guard TV because it's not just about me; it's about everybody. And it was a smash hit. And we did that for a number of years throughout the winter months. And I thought to myself, we need to do that again because it was a lot of fun to get together every Sunday night and talk about hypnosis and learn from each other and to experience hypnosis as well. A couple great things. Dustin has fixed my chat box problems. So right below this video is a chat box. You can chat in there and ask me or my guest, who's Dustin tonight, any questions that you want to, and that would be totally awesome. And Dustin is here tonight. He is my webmaster. He's a year or so making everything work when it hasn't been working correctly, and is responsible for all the beautiful graphics and those sorts of things. The great thing about Dustin, there's a lot of great things about Dustin in addition to just being an awesome guy. I'm going to do a long intro here, Dustin, because it's been a great year plus of working together. A lot of great things about Dustin. In addition to being an awesome guy, one of the first things that he said, because he had never met a hypnotist before he started doing my websites, was, hey, can you talk more about this hypnosis? Because I'd like to lose some weight. And I'm going to let Dustin share with you what happened to him after he learned about the power of hypnosis. But in addition to that, Dustin has, over the last year or so, not only designed websites for me, but he's designed websites for a bunch of hypnotists now. And he's got a lot of great thoughts on what makes a website successful. So I'm going to be asking Dustin some questions about the websites that he's designed so that you can learn how to create a successful website for yourself. By the way, when we conclude tonight's session of our Sunday night hypnosis class, Dustin, we need to come up with a catchy name for this. But when we're done, after I'm done talking to Dustin, I'm actually going to guide everybody through a hypnosis session focused on empowering yourself to experience success as a professional hypnotist. So you will have a chance to not only learn about how to promote your hypnosis practice through an awesome website tonight, but you also have a chance to simply experience hypnosis yourself. Lots of people from around the world, so if you do me a favor in the chat box below, if you'd say who you are and where you're from, that would be great. Also, you can actually change your name from number whatever to your real name if you'd like to. All you have to do is where the little enter your message here is, to the left is it says, like guest 9542 or something like that. You just click on that and you can change it to whatever your name actually is, and that's kind of cool. But if you would, in the chat box below, say who you are and where you're from. That would be awesome, because it's great to see people from around the world. I know that we have people right now in Boston and in Washington and in Connecticut. That's Brian out there in Connecticut. And we have people who I happen to know from Texas and elsewhere. We got Fable Goodman from the UK, who's got his eyes closed already in preparation for a hypnosis session. Dustin, of course, is in Canada, along with some other Canadians. We got Matt, who's wished us good day from Melbourne, Australia. Roger, I'm assuming that's Roger Moore, is guest 432. And Roger Moore, you can actually change your name by going down to where you type in the type in the chat box. You should say guest 432. You can click on that and change your name. But I'm going to introduce to you Dustin, and this is Dustin Tilley Sturgeon. You've seen me link to him on our Facebook page. He has been creating all of my web pages for the last year. So Dustin, one of the reasons why I love working with you is because not only are you a brilliant webmaster, but you also have a degree in graphic design. Is that correct?
Yes, actually, I've been doing graphic design since 2000, so 14 years now. Kind of been in a little bit of everything of graphic design, newsprint, online advertising, the whole shabam. Website development has kind of been my thing lately.
And that's the thing. I've found people before who are good website builders, and I found people before who are good graphic designers. Rarely do I find somebody who's both, and I think that's really important. By the way, one of the other things I want to talk about tonight is designing your own website, because sometimes people are doing it themselves, and I certainly support people learning how to do it themselves, even though I no longer do my own web pages. That was certainly where I began, etc. But Dustin, in addition to being what I think is an awesome artist and an incredible tech person, when we first met, I think it was probably a couple weeks after you first started doing some projects for me, and you saw that I had some videos and some courses on weight loss. And what was your question for me back then over a year ago?
Well, being a graphic designer, I sit in front of the computer all day long. So over the past 14 years, I just kind of gained the weight, and never really, had any success with losing it. So asking you about hypnosis and being referred over to Roger Moore was an incredible step in my life.
Sure, and I think this is important for those who are watching this. We met online, of course, and I hired you to do some web graphic work, etc. for me. I want you guys to take note of something. Well, I've totally been supportive of Dustin's weight loss goals, and certainly have probably given him some covert suggestions along the way. I did not take Dustin on as a client. I referred him to somebody else. Why did I do that? It's not because I couldn't work with Dustin. I've worked with lots of people to achieve their weight loss goals, but because I think it's important for us not to have dual relationships with a person. That's one of those ethical issues when we talk about ethics in the work that we do. And so I referred him to another competent person, and he, of course, said it was Roger Moore. And Roger is a person who I often refer people to when they want to accomplish their weight loss goals. In fact, Roger's going to be my guest next week on our Sunday night webcast. I think he's here in the chat room as well. By the way, RS has asked, is this just a chat class? No, it's not just a chat class. You're not seeing the video because you need to refresh your page. So if somebody would tell Arash to refresh his page, he'll see the video feed going on above, because there's about 25 other people right now watching the video feed. So so that was the reason why I referred Dustin over to Roger rather than having a dual relationship with him. But you had a lot of success with Roger. Do you mind telling people, because I remember the story of when you had to find a scale that would weigh you. Do you remember telling people how much you weighed when you finally found a scale that could weigh you? I mean, do you mind giving us some numbers here?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a long journey already. It will be officially a year to date, and seeing error on the scale is never a good thing.
Right.
So seeing a diagnosis, pardon me, all kind of contributed to those steps of losing the weight, but I think I started out at about 487 pounds, so almost 500, which is insane.
Right. And just this past week, or within the past couple of weeks, you were counting it down. You had lost how many pounds in the last year?
Well, I'm up to 109 pounds I've lost this year.
By the way you clap in a chat room is like this. So I am now typing a bunch of backwards threes, and that's how you give a round of applause in a chat room. And I think that Dustin deserves all of your applause here. So that was 109 pounds that you've lost in the last year. Now, here's the other thing that I think is remarkable about that. Well, you did work with Roger initially for a period of sessions. How many sessions did you have with Roger online?
I I can't quite remember. I think it was over the course of about 3 months, I think is what we
Right.
did. And Roger has this really awesome video or MP3 kind of client resources guide that has an MP3 for whether you're stressed or all of the issues that come up when you're trying to lose weight. Like how do I not crave bread? Those types of things. He's got an MP3 for that, and I probably listen to his MP3s at least once a day.
Sure, sure, sure. And so you had about 3 months where you met with Roger, once every other week or something like that. So probably let's call it 6 or 7 live sessions with Roger. But you supported that through the last year with MP3s.
hmm Yeah, lots of resources. When you start asking for help, it's amazing kind of what's out there. My dietitian was giving me information. My doctor was giving me information. Roger was just, the cornerstone of it for me getting through it. Because when you think about it, overeating and weight loss is a psychological issue.
Sure. Sure. Well, congratulations to you for using hypnosis in your own life to experience success. Lots of people have, and I'm certainly really glad that you have 109 pounds in the last year, and we'll probably see another 109 pounds this year. I've always worked with a lot of people. My primary clients who are weight loss clients are not people who need to lose 40 pounds to look better at a dance. My group has primarily been men, 30, 40, 50, who need to lose half their body weight in order to stay alive. And you are certainly well on your way to experiencing that life-changing success. Has it changed your life already in many ways?
Well, I can walk up the street without passing out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, I've definitely noticed a huge change in my lifestyle. I'm very, very happy, and I look for ways to get more exercise in my daily routine. So it's I just love it. I feel like I was missing such a huge part of life, being so overweight. So it's definitely changed my life for the better, and I can't wait to lose even more weight.
Sure. And you've been over the last year doing a lot of websites, a lot of graphic design for a lot of different companies, but you've really picked up, probably because of your relationship with me, a ton of hypnotists, haven't you? You've been designing a lot of hypnosis web pages, haven't you?
Yes, yeah, quite a few actually. We're this past week I've done 3 hypnotist websites and all over the place. New York, one in Vancouver. So it's really busy.
Sure. And by the way, John Cerbone's new website looks awesome. That's, I'm sure, the New York client who you're referring to.
Yeah, I've actually we just launched his there I think last week, and just launched one for a hypnotist in Vancouver, and we're just learning constantly, what users look for and how best to kind of get the results that the hypnotists are looking to get. They want the bookings, they want residual incomes from MP3s and their ebooks. So there are ways to kind of position that and target audiences on your website.
Now, let me ask you some tech things. So a lot of hypnotists have a website already, and they want to add products to it. They want to download some MP3s, or maybe they have some other resources that they want to be able to offer people. They can do that for free, but a hypnotist can actually add to their income by offering some of those downloadable MP3s to their webpage. How would I, if I had an existing webpage, go about, selling some MP3s? I know you can do something like eJunkie.com, or I can even build a whole store. What are the options for me?
Well, it depends on what platform your website's installed on, whether it's an HTML site from back in the day when people still kind of did their programming and uploaded HTML files. Quite popular nowadays is WordPress, and there are tons of plugins out there to kind of get you set up on different types of carts to do, specifically digital products. So, and then you just integrate it with your PayPal or whatever merchant account that you're comfortable with using.
By the way, people want to know the link to John's webpage. What is it?
HypnosisStageShow.com.
So he had you build a stage show on Hypnosis.
Yes, we were looking to promote his
I went to one of his other web pages, and it was still the old designer, and I could tell a huge difference. So,
Yeah, I think. Yeah, go ahead.
no, so when people are building, when people are adding a store, um, I've done it a couple of different ways. I've had a web page and then I've added a store by adding a subdomain and using an entirely different system. For example, this is on video.subliminalscience.com, which is actually a WordPress platform that you built for me.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the main web page, subliminalscience.com, is CSCart, and my old webmaster built it. So if you're thinking to yourself, subliminalscience.com doesn't look that great, realize it was video.subliminalscience.com that Dustin built, and my old web designer built the other one. But is that a viable option for people? Can people sort of add to a web page by doing something like that?
Absolutely. Like I said, there's many different carts out there, many different ways of doing it. I think the easiest way if you have a WordPress site is to add. There's a free plugin out there called Easy Digital Downloads. That's a really good gold nugget for everybody who's got a WordPress site. I think you actually introduced me to that one. It's a free cart system, and it's got a ton of add-ons that you can purchase the licensing to kind of customize it to do different things. And the checkout system is very, very simple. And I think that's key when you're adding a cart is you want to make it as little hurdles as possible so that your customers kind of buy more on impulse and they don't get stuck up in the process.
Absolutely. Now, let me ask you a question. Let's say I'm not really selling products or MP3s. I'm just building a website because I'm a local hypnotist and I want people to call on me for smoking cessation or for weight loss or to help stop chasing cars or overcome anxiety or whatever it is that people go see a hypnotist for. What do you see as kind of the 5 biggest errors people make on their web page when they're creating what is referred to as an electronic brochure rather than really an interactive or compelling web page? What are some of the mistakes that people make?
Well, I think when you're starting a website, the very first question that you need to ask yourself is, who are you targeting? Right? Because if you know that, you would be able to design and kind of implement what you want and how best to kind of target them in the first place. Because if you're just throwing up a website into cyberspace and nobody comes to it, it doesn't mean anything. You have to know how you're going to target people, what services you're going to use to do that, and then you can kind of look at developing your website. So you want to think about Google AdWords if you have any money to kind of, marketing dollars that you want to invest into this. Facebook ads, social media, just the free type thing. You got to think of how you want to generate traffic, and that's the very first thing that you need to really write out and sketch out a plan of how you want to get there.
And even getting Google rankings. What are a couple tricks to get your web page to the top of Google? What are some easy things?
Sorry, you kind of glitched out there. What was that?
What are some of the things people overlook in sort of search engine optimization? They build a web page, but Google's not finding it. What are a couple things that help Google to find a way?
Well, Google is a big mystery for a lot of people, and they don't tell everybody what's going to get #1 because Google can't have everybody #1. So the way Google looks at search engine rankings is by relevancy. So you want to make your site as relevant to the service that you are providing. So if you're doing hypnosis MP3s, you want to be saying what type of hypnosis MP3s and developing your content around that. So, and if people are starting to find you because they're looking for anxiety issue MP3s and you've got a ton of content about that, you're going to be #1 because you're getting more traffic and more people are coming to you. So it's kind of a the chicken and the egg type thing. You need to be developing content and developing traffic through other sources, and Google notices all of that.
Sure. By the way, I just shared your URL You're always in our ICBCH group, so you can always ask questions of Dustin in our ICBCH group. And of course, I type vividgraphicdesign.com, which leads basically to nowhere. And that's because Dustin is Canadian, so you have to go to vividgraphicdesign.ca. Eh?
That's right. Yeah, no, I tried to buy the .com too, but it wasn't available. I do have getthewowfactor.com though.
Getthewowfactor.com. All right, there we go. Getthewowfactor.com. You know, in creating web pages, one of the things that I think is really important, if you're selling a service like hypnosis, people want to see who they're going to be making an appointment with. So the question is, do you have a picture on the website, or even better than a picture, is it? So most of my web pages have a video embedded where I say something like, "Hello, welcome to our web page. I'm Richard Dongard, and I'm the hypnotist who runs this web page, and I'm a nice guy, and I take a shower every day, and usually I wear nice clothes, even though today I'm wearing an old shirt. I've been painting all day." I just make a 1 or 2 minute video describing the services, etc. Do you find that there's a lot of power in video, and does that even help with search engine optimization?
It does when you're using YouTube and that sort of thing, because Google owns YouTube now. But yes, video is definitely a determining factor, I think, for people in making the decision of whether they're going to call you or not. Right? You want to make them feel as comfortable about you as possible. I know when you're looking at, you got to think of when you're going and you're investigating other people, what makes you feel comfortable, right? You're seeing a person, seeing a phone number, seeing an address, and an easy way to contact you other than phone, whether that's a form or an email address or a book, click here to book, and they fill out kind of what they're interested, just a soft touch. So you want to put in as many ways that they can kind of contact you as possible.
Sure. By the way, somebody asked in the chat box, other than a stage hypnotist, do you have any clinical Have you finished Larry's page? Who's a hypnotist, a clinical hypnotist, whose page that I can send them to, so they can kind of see what you think a good website is?
Hypnotistvancouver.ca.
Hypnotistvancouver.ca. Is that Larry's page?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's Larry Butler in Vancouver, and I haven't seen that page. You just did that page for Larry?
Yeah, it's still currently under development here. He's away right now, but I just sent him kind of like the proof.
Sure, so you can kind of see a work in progress and what some of the elements of a good page are. By the way, one of the most important elements I think on a good page is a contact form that has an address, a Google map, a telephone number. And I also think at the very top of the web page, what do you call that thing? The masthead, or what's that thing that I'm always having you create for me? That top graphic. Is there a name for that?
Just header graphics. Yeah.
Just header graphic.
Header image.
I think putting the phone number in the header graphic is a no-brainer. I go to a lot of web pages because I'm looking for the phone number, and if the phone number's not there, if I have to start clicking around or looking for it, I get frustrated as hell. Are there some simple design things, since you're a graphic designer, that you think really help with success in marketing?
Well, it again, you got to think about who you're targeting, and if you're specifically going to be doing smoking cessation, then you want to think of those types of people that are coming to their site. Are they looking to buy an MP3? Are they wanting to call and book a session in? That type of thing. So there are different ways of laying out a page to kind of visually get people to do what you want them to do. And hypnotistvancouver.ca, I think that's a good example of that, where I've got 4 squares up the top. I've done this on a few websites now, and you want to get people to do something on your website that benefits you. So if you want them to book, if you want them to download an MP3, if you want them to join your newsletter, if you want them to get updates into your social media, any action that they take by doing any one of those buttons is going to get them to do something that's going to benefit you.
Cool. Anybody have any questions for Dustin, feel free to type in the chat box or even ask me. How about designing your own web page? You know, we know that you're a professional and you charge a fee. Here's the thing, sometimes I meet people, in fact, there's a discussion on the ICBCH group right now. How can I make, I just went to Larry's page, it's actually really good. The hypnotistvancouver.ca. I actually love the page. The reason I like the page, the phone number is right there at the top. It offers the services. There's a video for Larry. I was actually there when Larry made the video. In fact, I videoed the video for Larry. And then I love those 4 buttons at the top that actually are really what we would call a call to action. So it's the first time. I don't know if you're in the chat room, Larry, but your webpage is awesome, and we're using you as a good example today. By the way, one of the other things I've traditionally done on my web pages is have a video where I guide people through a basic process of hypnosis, and that's something that's really pretty cool also. There's a discussion today of, can I use a free web service like Weebly or something like that, or GoDaddy has their website tonight or something like that. People do that, and they use a template, and I think it's okay if you you can use a WordPress, so you can make your own website if you want to. But we're asking our clients to pay a professional a fee, and so I think that since we're probably not graphic designers and website gurus, it makes a lot of sense for us to take our own advice and to pay a professional a fee. But are there some options out there in designing your own web page that are effective? I know WordPress is probably, in opinion, the best of the do-it-yourself kind of things, and there are lots of video tutorials on YouTube that teach a person how to use WordPress. In fact, even in years gone by, I've produced them. They're out of date right now. But are there some viable options out there like that for people?
Well, I guess it depends on how tech savvy you are and kind of doing things. I know there are people out there that have a WordPress site and have 200 plugins doing the simplest thing. And when you do that, you slow your site down significantly, and there are a lot of drawbacks to kind of the WordPress and then adding a plugin to put in a chat box or to put in this or to put in that type thing, right? So there are benefits to getting a designer to kind of do it, because they're going to know that how to actually manually program it. There are a lot of themes out there too that you kind of have to be wary about, because they're not designed for SEO optimization. Those types of things you really have to think about, what is your ultimate goal for your website? Are you looking just for a business card type, here's my contact information online type thing? The cart systems, those types of things. So it really depends on how tech savvy you are.
Sure. By the way, Arish has asked a really good SEO question here. I can't read Icelandic language, so I can't read a damn thing on the web page, but I can tell you right now what the question is, and I can tell you what the solution is, and you tell me, since you're the tech guru, Dustin, if I'm correct on the solution. His question is, right now I'm on page 3, and I want to move to page 1 when people are searching for hypnosis in Icelandic. The word, I can't speak Icelandic, so I can't even attempt to pronounce the word hypnosis in Icelandic. My quick suggestion here would be, and I don't see this on your webpage. Now, it could be that I don't understand the language, but I don't see an article section. One of the things that I've always stressed to Dustin in building all of my web pages is I want a news feed, a blog feed, an article feed. And the reason why is I can write keyword articles, even though nobody's really going to read it, but the spiders are, that show, one, the website is up to date. Look, see, I actually was painting today. You can see the paint on my hands. So there you go, paint on my hands. It's painting gray primer. And so by using an article or a blog roll, you could actually create a page that was, vitun.is/hypnosis. And then what you have is you have actually the keyword right there in the URL. And the search engines are going to find that. So, for example, if I wanted hypnotists in Scottsdale, I might be nonguard.com/. I made an article page that was hypnotists in Scottsdale. If I did that, would that help my search engine ranking, and then wrote an article that was 400 words using that keyword? Would that be a helpful way to get to the top?
I think nowadays a lot of the old techniques of how do I get #1 on Google are pretty much dead. Now, what stresses right from the very beginning is relevancy, relevancy, relevancy. So you have to make your content useful for somebody who's coming to your site. You don't really want to put up a blog that has 50 articles about hypnosis that nobody's going to read. It's really, if nobody's coming to it, Google notices that type of stuff. So putting up, valuable resources for your clients to kind of use, putting some value added type products out there, like a free MP3, that sort of the thing will generate some traffic, and more traffic to the pages, in Google's eyes means that your page is more relevant. So,
sure, the entire video.subliminalscience.com page is a page with tons of resources on it, which, of course, I hope direct people back to subliminalscience.com so they buy something. By the way, let me give you a commercial. We haven't done a commercial yet, although I did post Dustin's website. If you're watching this broadcast and you want 20% off Subliminal Science, I reactivated the coupon for the next 24 hours. So all you have to do when you're checking out holiday, and it'll take 20% off of anything for the next 24 hours. I did that last Sunday. Some people took advantage of that. So if you go to subliminalscience.com and you buy something, just type in holiday when you're checking out in the code, and it'll, boom, take 20% off. Now, it won't do it on things you've already ordered in the past, and it won't do it in the future unless you do that within the next 24 hours. But ideally offering blogs, videos, teaching, downloads, all those sorts of things, free scripts, etc., make the site more valuable to Google's search engine rankings. Any other questions for Dustin? Or Dustin, somebody's asked a question. What's the best security for WordPress from backdoor attacks? I think the best security, in my opinion, is change the default username from admin to something else. So a lot of people have admin as their sign-in, and then their password. And the backdoor attacks are looking for people who haven't changed that default password. By the way, do the same thing on your router. I just set up a new AC1900 router tonight, and I changed the ASUS router login from admin to something else. Because people who are looking to broadcast webcams remotely are looking for a backdoor by default login ID of admin. So that's security issue number one. Any other security issues for WordPress pages? Dustin?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Any thoughts on best security from backdoor X on WordPress? Because a lot of people use WordPress pages.
I think that really it depends on what you're using for your hosting service. There are a lot of things that your hosting service can actually do to prevent people to access your are in the first place. So you want to talk to them and take a look at their free services. And I know there are a lot of paid services out there right now that that are being promoted to kind of prevent all these attacks. You see them in the news all the time. So there are a lot of things that you can kind of set up in the back end as well as in WordPress. I don't really know of a plugin or anything like that you can add. I know there's things for spam and that sort of thing, but again, when you start adding a ton of plugins to your website, you're going to slow it down, and slow sites do not help your SEO in the long run either. So you kind of have to, when you get attacked, call your server people.
Sure. Now I'm going to put a bunch of threes in here again and give you a round of applause, because the questions that you've answered tonight, we could obviously teach, or you could teach probably a whole week-long class and effective website things, but hopefully we've touched on some things that are important to people. And I'm giving you those threes again because You've lost 109 pounds using hypnotic methods and techniques, using MP3s, and that's really powerful. One thing that people often say to me is, are MP3s as effective as, an in-office visit, or is Skype-nosis as effective? And you certainly have proven that both Skype-nosis and reinforcement with well-done MP3s are incredible. Look at that big giant smile you have.
Yeah, it's been a journey, and it was just one thing adding on, hypnosis, and then I became vegan because of, and I don't think he ever preached it, but it was just a gradual thing about his plant-based diet. I just thought, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it, well, I'm going to do it right. So at first it was really hard to say goodbye to McDonald's, but now the thought of it just makes me, gag.
By the way, you said something that was really important. Roger never told you to do that, but you internalized the suggestions and made a decision related to what's best for you, rather than being told what to do. That's really important, don't you think?
Yeah, no, like I said, I don't think he ever did mention the word vegan, but his plant-based, articles and his book and that sort of thing, they all, the science behind it just made sense for me. The milk and the cheese and the fat and the oil and the salt, all of the things that you don't really need in your life, I started to gradually cut out, and I just noticed, a huge difference in my health overall.
Sure, and I'm actually going to talk to Roger next week here on our Sunday night broadcast. I think Roger's in the chat room, but next Sunday night, a little bit about nutrient-dense diets. And the idea here really isn't to become a vegan. The idea is that we should eat the most nutritionally dense food the most often, and eat the least nutritionally dense food the least often. It just so happens that generally meats and other things are the least nutritionally dense. So, for example, the biggest change for a person that I suggest is this. When you have a 12-ounce steak and 3 ounces of vegetables, we'll switch that around and have 12 ounces of vegetables and 3 ounces of steak. It should be the garnish, not the most important thing in a meal. And change is certainly possible for all of us. And you, Dustin, I don't know, I'm going to type in more threes for you. I even threw in a 2 here, because that's just awesome. All right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to guide everybody through a short hypnosis session. One of the things that I want to do on our Sunday nights is give everyone a chance to experience hypnosis as well. So, Dustin, you're good at hypnosis now, so you can certainly stick around and go through the process as well. And there are probably a few other people out there who are not necessarily professional or full-time hypnotists. That's okay too. The process of hypnosis is a valuable process in and of itself. And so I'm going to give suggestions tonight related to our success and ability as professional hypnotists. But you can, in your own mind, like Dustin did, adapt the suggestions to whatever's really most important to you, getting the most out of this session, really what's most important to you. So while you're viewing this webcast, simply relax in that chair where you are. This isn't going to be a long process, but it'll be a process that you find beneficial to you. And so breathe in, breathe out. Pay attention to this moment. The chair below you where your feet are resting on, even to the light from the computer screen in front of you. Now, for those of you who are in Europe, it's the beginning of a new day, but for most of us, it's the end of an old day. And so it probably would feel really good to close the eyes and relax for just a moment. We're not going to go to sleep, just relaxed, paying attention to this moment, enjoying the experience of tranquility and being mindful of the moment and even centered. So breathe in and breathe out and enjoy that awareness of this moment, this place, and this time. Anywhere you're carrying the tension of the day, you can relax those muscles. You can drop the shoulder. You can unclench the jaw. You can let the little tiny muscles of the brow relax. Breathe in, breathe out, and notice, without even trying, the breath has become smooth and rhythmic. Your heart rate calm and regular. The power of the moment of mindfulness can help you to really center on a specific moment and place. And you came to this class tonight to learn new things, to experience new learning, and to build success. So you can congratulate yourself. You can congratulate yourself for having taken time to learn something new and to apply these new learnings in a new way that can help you to experience success. Even if you're not in the process of building a new website, by going through this process of centering yourself in this moment, relaxing into that creative state of learning, empowerment, and success. You can conclude tonight's session by knowing that when you open the eyes in a few minutes, you'll be stepping into a new chapter of life. A new chapter filled with power and confidence and success. So breathe in again. Breathe out. And let anything, either known or unknown, keeping you from success, simply rise up out of you and disappear at this moment, retaining that which is most beneficial to you. This state of awareness or of creativity, the state of learning and power and feeling wonderful. I'll give you another minute to continue to enjoy this state that you've created. Not one that I've created, but one that you've created by simply setting aside a few moments in the early part to listen to Dustin. And now in these moments, to be guided through a process of self-hypnosis. And enjoy this state. The resources that you've accessed and the direction that you know you will go from this point forward. Now, because our time is almost up, taking another breath and let that breath fill the lungs with oxygen. Let the oxygen reach every cell of the body. Pay attention to the chair below you, the floor below your feet, and taking another breath, feeling energetic and ready for the rest of the day. Opening the eyes, feeling fantastic, and ready for a new experience and a new day. Feeling fantastic. 1, 2, 3, like John Chabon says, if your eyes aren't open, wakey, wakey, eggs and bakey. There's a basic process, a short process today to help you experience the power of self-hypnosis. Congratulations, everybody, for learning, for setting aside this time. I will see you next Sunday, same time, same channel. Roger Moore is actually going to be my guest next week, and I'm looking forward to that, and looking forward to hearing more from Dustin. Dustin looks like he turned the camera off, but Dustin, thank you very much for participating tonight. I really appreciate your setting aside some time for this. Dustin may be gone. Looks like he's gone. Guys, I really appreciate your help. If you have any questions, post them at icbchgroup.com. If you want 20% off anything and everything at subliminalscience.com, when you check out, just use that code HOLIDAY. For the next 24 hours, that code will be active. Absolutely fantastic, everybody. Look forward to seeing you, same time, same channel, next week.